Hello, my friend. If you feel like when you're writing CSS, you sort of get it, right? Everything, you're able to make things work. Maybe you have a Figma design that a designer's given you, or maybe it's a front-end mentor challenge or something else like that. And you're able to make an element look correct. You match the padding, you get everything looking pretty good. The font sizes are all good, and you're happy with what you have, but then you drop it into a larger layout and things start to break. Maybe it doesn't work correctly with the layout, or there's some overflow happening, there's some weird spacing issues that you weren't expecting. There's all sorts of different problems that can arise. And if that's the case for you, then today's video I think is going to be exactly what you need, because when those types of things start happening, the issue is less with your understanding of like the specific properties and values. That's part of the memorization process. But the real shift to stop running into those problems actually has nothing to do with learning more CSS specific things and more about a mindset shift that you need to take. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. And we are going to go with this example that we were just looking at how we can fix it, the different problems I ran into. And some of these are more obvious than others, but along the way, we're also going to be talking a lot about the mindset and the way I approach CSS that stops anything like this from happening for me. Or when it does happen, because we all make mistakes, how I can quickly diagnose it and fix those problems. Now, really quickly before we dive into it, I do want to let you know that today is actually the day where I've relaunched CSS Demystified. It's my flagship CSS course that helps people start writing CSS with confidence, and it is now once again available. Link for it is in the description, but I'm not going to talk too much about that now. We want to dive into this example because that's what you're here for. So let's take a look at the broken layout that I have right now. There's overlapping things going on here, which is weird, and then like the spacing is wrong. Why aren't they going next to one another like I'd expect them to when I'm using an auto grid in CSS? It just isn't doing what I was hoping it would do. But to get started with this, the first thing I'm going to do is actually remove them from the grid. I don't want them in the layout yet. This is usually when we realize there's problems, is when we drop them in there. But before we worry about that, or just let them be in a normal flow for now, everything is looking fine with my 3 cards. Let's go look at the problems. And part of this is I've been way too prescriptive. This is, generally speaking, one of the big mindset shifts we need to take is to start working with the browser instead of trying to tell the browser what to do. That's the really big thing. The reason for that is there's so many different variables at play, right? We don't know the screen size. We don't know the pointer device. Are they using a keyboard to navigate? Are they using their mouse? Are they using a touch screen and with their finger? There's those different things at play. There's the color gamuts. There's the device pixel ratios. Are they even using a browser, or are they using a screen reader? Users have all of these different things they can do. Have they zoomed in? Have they changed their browser settings to change the font size? We can't know all of these things, and we can't control for all of those things. So instead of trying to write prescriptive CSS, we have to try and write CSS that works with what the browser's already trying to do. And so here I'm just like super overly prescriptive. Hopefully you saw the height and you're already like, oh, why would he do something like that? Because you do not, generally speaking, need to set heights, right? Elements want to be as tall as they need to be. So if I come into this first card and I just make the text a little bit shorter, if I have a declared height on there, it's staying at that declared height. And if I added more content to some of them, it would cause some overflows because we're saying this is how big you have to be. It wants to be as short as possible, and it's going to grow if we add content to it, if we don't declare a height, or if we leave it as a height of auto. Height auto works fantastically well. So there we go. Every card is doing what it needs to do. Now widths are a little bit of a different story, because sometimes you might need one, but you don't want to put a fixed width like 400 pixels. When you have a fixed width of 400 pixels, what happens is then once we saw that when we stuck it in our layout, right? Let's do that again. That was my product list up here. It looks fine here, but then because of the way I'd set up those columns, now all of a sudden I get some overlapping because my columns are able to get to 300 pixels wide, but my cards are stuck at 400 pixels. So that breaks things. So a lot of the time, you don't actually need one of these either, and you're going to sort of separate concerns a little bit, where the element itself isn't dictating the layout. It's the thing that you're putting it inside of is dictating the layout. In this case, the product list that I'm creating. You might have a wrapper. The wrapper is going to be setting a width, and then the content is going to live in there. But if you do need to have one, and this isn't the best example, but if you do need to have one, do a max width instead of a width, where we're still working with what the browser wants to do. It wants things to be as wide as possible. So what we're saying is, well, you're going to be allowed to shrink. We can leave it like that. We'll just get really, really tiny. You're allowed to shrink and grow. And so we won't cause any overflow, but just don't grow more than this much. This is as large as I'm going to let you get to. This is fine. But in the case of elements like cards or other things like this, I would say a lot of the time you don't need one either. And this can feel weird, especially if you're just making this one component in isolation. I mean, if you're using like React, Vue, Astra, whatever it is, and you're just making your component in isolation and it's not being put into the layout yet, this looks really bizarre that it's like able to stretch, right? So like that's kind of weird that it's stretching and you go, I don't want to do that. So that's why you put the width on it. But start looking at the context it's going to live in. It's probably very rarely going to be in a situation where this type of thing can happen. Maybe it is, and maybe you do need a max width on there. That's a possibility, but only write that line of code if you run into the problem. I haven't run into the problem yet because I haven't started using this in the places it actually needs to be used. My layout requires this to be in that product list that I had created. And if it's in there, having removed that width and height, now all of a sudden, everything's working completely fine. Almost. There is another problem still, but it's much better than what it was. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. We're still running in. This isn't getting as wide as I'd want it to. I think that's some other layout issues that I have in play here where I have a wrapper that's just not big enough. I was creating a second column there on the side for a sidebar layout for a different version of this demo, and I forgot that I'd put that there. There we go. That makes more sense. I was like, why is it getting narrower when I get wider? But we get up to our 3 columns. So another problem that I've introduced now, though, is you might notice the spacing is becoming inconsistent. And if we go and take a look, we can see here where this space is much bigger than the space here. And I'm like, well, this is frustrating. I put my gap. Why is my gap bigger here than my gap is over here? And that's because I also, on the product, put a margin bottom. The reason I put that is because before I put it into the grid, I needed that margin for spacing. Now I don't need that margin for spacing anymore. I was just doing that for like the quick version I was doing where I had a few different ones on the screen. And then as soon as I put it into the grid, the spacing doubles up because I have my gap, plus I have this margin bottom that I threw on there. So now I can remove that from there as well. And now everything is working really, really well. And this is sort of a different part of this mindset shift, but I did talk a bit about it, where we're trying to separate layout from content. And it's not so much like layout from content period, because this product could be something, you could have a display of grid in here or a display of flex in here and change the flex direction. And this becomes its own self-composed little layout, but it's only looking inward. As soon as we have elements that are impacting things outward with things like margin, we do have to start being careful and be going, well, how is this margin impacting the other things around it? And it's the same with like widths and heights and other things. We're forcing a layout that has impacts on how it's interacting with other elements. And those are the things we want to be careful with and, generally speaking, avoid. And if this lesson spoke to you at all in any way, I've mentioned CSS Demystified version 2 is just relaunched. I completely redid the course from scratch. It's been out for like 7 years now. It needed a complete overhaul, and today is the launch day of the new version of it. There's 63 lessons, there's over 200 videos, and speaking of mindset, the second module, the first real module is called the CSS Mindset, and it's all about getting into the mindset of working with CSS so we're not fighting with it. And then from there, we get into layouts and responsiveness and all of that, building on top of working with the browser and having the right mindset and approaching things in ways where we're never fighting with CSS and not applying band-aid fixes on top of band-aid fixes and always feeling like we're struggling with it. The entire purpose of this course is to help you change the approach you take to writing CSS. We're not worried so much about memorizing properties and values. I'm assuming you've already been writing CSS for a little bit, but it's more about embracing what the browser wants to do, working with the browser, not fighting against it, and learning how to write CSS with confidence so you're writing resilient CSS that just works. Once again, the link for it is down in the description, and if you're watching this during the week this video came out, there is a launch sale going on right now for 20% off, so you can make sure you take advantage of that while you can.